Hello, loves. Okay, let's talk about how I made this cake, which I love the way it turned out. So, first, I have this little cutter that I use to create all the little tiles. Before, a couple of years ago, this thing never existed, and you had to do them all by hand, and you had to make sure they were all evenly cut. It was a very tedious process. And then I basically put them one by one onto the cake. Now, the cake is a buttercream base, but they just stick nicely to the cream. Onto the little handmade topper that's going to sit on the top of the cake. So I kind of eyeballed the design. I am looking at a little picture just to see what it's supposed to look like. It's an old school race car, if you guys didn't get that. So very simple, kind of cartoonish like, just cutting out several strips of fondant and laying them on top. In order for the fondant to stick to each other, you basically just dampen it with a paper towel, very light damp paper towel. Here I am using an edible marker, not a real marker, an edible marker. I got this from my local hobby store. Very convenient when it comes to things like this. So I put that on the car. I used the number 2 because the little boy is turning 2 years old. Now, once I placed the top tier on, I went ahead and wanted to add a little border. And just to match the theme of the car, I added a blue border on the edge as well as the edge of the tiled portion. This is not my design though. This is inspired by something that the customer sent me. It's just slightly tweaked to, fit my artistic style. So after I went ahead and I finished that, then I made a little wheel for the car, and I also made a little back seat for the car. I couldn't make those prior because I needed them to stick onto a surface, and so now they're just sticking onto the cake. You really have to make sure where you're putting your items because once it sticks to the cream and you take it off, it's gonna ruin. As for the tires, I have a mold that I use. You put the fondant in there, press it, and then put it in the freezer for like 10 minutes and then take it out. But unfortunately, it turned out to be very ugly, so I had to try again. No worries though, I do have one that's already made, and this is basically what it looks like. Pretty cool. Here's the final product of the cake. I made little cones to put around the cake as well, and a number 2 topper, and that's it.